week I have a really cool shoot coming into the studio, but I only have like 3 days to prepare for it. Only have 3 days to prepare for it because this is kind of a time-sensitive shoot and we are trying to make it happen quickly. So I have a little girl who has cancer who's coming in to do a shoot with me, and I just want to make it as extra special as possible. So I am going to try and figure out how to make all these costumes in 3 days. And it's going to be a lot of work, but I'm excited. So what is the actual shoot, you ask? Well, it's the Addams family. And if you're like me and you love Halloween, anything Halloween, you probably also love the Addams family like I do. But we're not going to do the Addams family as you would generally see them, like with the full family setup, because there's only, first off, so many people who will be attending the shoot, and certain individuals have requested certain characters. For example, we will be working with Uncle Fester, Morticia, Pugsley, Parker, and Wednesday. And if you're not familiar with who Parker is, that's okay. She is a character in the cartoon Addams Family that came out not that long ago. She is the teenager who befriends Wednesday and ends up going from like your normal teenager style to more goth and more Wednesday, if you will. So she will be playing Parker from that movie in this session. So now let's talk about what I actually have to do to prepare for this session itself. My plan here is to actually photograph like 5 or 6 images that are all composite images. So I will be putting 5 or 6 images together where I build the background completely. I will try my best to change or add as many actual Addams Family things into those pictures as possible. I think I'm gonna have to build a lot of things versus actually having them here, because there's just not enough time to do that. So most of this will be like legitimate composite stuff. And then maybe I'll get to play with the new AI that's out in Photoshop. We'll see, I'm not sure. We'll see about that. But I will not be doing any actual set designing for this. It's just all costumes. So I will be making Morticia's dress, and generally Morticia is posed in a long floor-length dress. Sometimes the dress comes up to attach out here at a finger, or it will have like long curly bits or pieces, like a long fabric sleeve. I am struggling with words today. But she generally has either like big puffy arm sleeves or something like that, or a little train or pieces that like fly off the bottoms of the dress. I might do this a little bit more simple just because I don't have crazy amount of time to work with. Then we have Pugsley, which is our youngest of the entire group that's coming in. For Pugsley, I'm literally just gonna go to Target and see what I can find. If I can find what I need, then great. I know I will be getting at least a white t-shirt there. If not, maybe shorts, but we'll see what I can find. I'm gonna try and thrift as much of this as I can. But she's, like I said, she's very small. She just turned 1, so I can probably either get just a tiny bit bigger or a tiny bit smaller, and if it's stretchy, that'll be beneficial. So I will try my hardest to thrift what I can there. But with the white t-shirt, I'm going to, I think, paint stripes on. Next I have Parker, and for Parker's costume, I am literally just gonna go to the thrift store and see what I can find, and whatever I find that looks like it might work, and if it's not already black, I'm gonna dye it black, because that's her character. She's just a teenager wearing teenager clothes that are black. So that's my goal there. I just need to go find some things that are dyeable or that will just work for that aesthetic. So that should be pretty easy. The next is Uncle Fester. And I have thought about Uncle Fester's costume since the beginning of this, because that one for some reason is the one that's really hanging me up. That costume, as it's portrayed in the times that Addams Family has been out, has changed. So it's either like a long coat with fur around the neck, or it's like a priest outfit. In some ways, like in the cartoon, he looks like he's a bell with a coat on. So I don't know, I have to figure out what to do there. I don't think I'm gonna be able to find a coat, or especially the coat that he's wearing, because it's summertime and they generally don't have coats out in the thrift store in the summertime because no one's gonna buy that. It's hot. So I might have to do some more research for this. That one's the one I'm actually kind of not super prepared for and looking forward to making because I don't know what I'm doing. Now for Wednesday, I don't actually have to make a costume, which I'm very thankful for. They already have a costume for her, they're bringing it in. I don't have to do anything with that one. So that is all of the things that I need to make, and it is going to be a big undertaking in 3 days. And I generally do not do things over the weekend for costumes or prop builds or anything like that. But this is a special case, and we're gonna get it done, and it's gonna be good, and it's gonna be beautiful, and I cannot wait. This project was so much to put together in a very short amount of time. We're talking like 2 days, if not 3 days, because I worked on it also while we're waiting for them to come in. But the first thing I worked on was Morticia's dress. I also had the help of my cat, who was great at holding down pattern pieces, but he also ended up playing with everything. But he's real cute, see? I also had to put Uncle Fester's costume together, and this costume really was a struggle for me to figure out what to do and how to do it, because he's portrayed in so many different ways. So what I ended up doing was getting a, I guess like a costume that would be also something that a Star Wars character would wear. I laid it all out, pinned it down, cut it, and then started sewing it all up. My machine did not love this fabric, but I ended up getting it done. For Pugsley, this is probably the easiest costume that I had to make. I literally just got a shirt at Target and some fabric paint and painted some stripes on it. Now, some of the stripes did bleed over, and that's okay. It's not like it needed to be extra perfect for this one. She was extra tiny, just turned 1, so it's okay if there was a little bit of mess to it, and I ended up fixing it all in Photoshop anyway, so it's fine. But I kind of, after doing this, want to make my own shirt like this. I think it's really cool. Alright, so it is time to try and dye the wig and some other things that I need to turn black. The wig specifically is from I got extra wigs when I ordered them off Amazon a long time ago, and I did my Rapunzel holiday card, so I have like extra wigs from that. So I'm trying really hard to turn that wig black. If it doesn't work, I really don't have another option. So if it doesn't work, I'm going to probably just have to Photoshop in hair or change the wig color in Photoshop. So fingers crossed that this is going to work. I think I might actually have a black wig now that I think about it. I just don't know where, and I don't think that it was a good wig. If I remember correctly, it was like really stringy. So hopefully this works. And luckily for me, it did indeed work. So here I am using the synthetic fabric dye from RIT, and it did very well. After it was completely dyed and actually looked like it was a black wig and not a blonde wig, I pulled it out and tried my best to dry it off and somehow detangle it. And that was a whole process unto itself, because that wig was tangly. Now I am also using a heat gun here, and I don't necessarily advise using a heat gun, but that is all that I have in the studio, so that is what I went with. I just tried to keep the setting lower and not really keep it super close to the fibers itself, because it will just melt them, because it is a synthetic wig. Once the wig was sort of dry-ish, I decided I needed to kind of thin it out a little bit. A lot of synthetic wigs, when you get them, they're really thick. They don't necessarily lay like real hair, and there's just so much of it. I tried really hard to kind of thin it out, make it look a little bit more like real hair, which for this particular wig, it was a struggle. And I am not a hair professional of any sorts. This is only like my second time messing with a wig, so to do this, it's just a learning process for me.
And I'm really gonna have to just figure out how to make the wigs less tangly whenever I do stuff like this, because this particular wig was so tangly, like so tangly. So hopefully other ones aren't like this, but it was fine. It was fine for what I did. I think it came out okay. As you see it start to dry, you do see kind of little bits of blonde. It's still black in parts of it, but the wig does look like it has like a gray tone to it versus black. In Photoshop, I ended up fixing it, so it's fine, but it definitely didn't turn like dark black, and that's what I was going for. Maybe another round of dyeing or keeping it in there longer would work, but it was good enough for what I needed it to be. Also, as a side note here, this particular wig had bangs. Morticia doesn't have bangs, but I was just, again, working with what I had, and I'll keep it for something else, but I really did want to cut the bangs out of this. So I ended up with a little extra time, and I had an idea that Pugsley and Wednesday are always, or mostly Wednesday is always chasing Pugsley with weapons of sorts. So I pulled some of the tubes out of my stock that I have piled up, and I just made what I think dynamite would look like. So I cut a bunch of the tube up into pieces, I tied it together, spray painted it red, and I think we came up with a pretty cool solution.
Here's our little Pugsley. Look at you! It's like baby Pugsley.
They're creepy and they're kooky, mysterious and spooky. They're all together ooky, the Addams family. Their house is a museum. When people come to see them, they really are a scream, the Addams family.
That was a lot. It was a lot to put together. It was a lot to make happen. But it all came out, I think, so nice. I have no issues with anything that was made except for one thing. Uncle Fester's costume, for the life of me, I could not figure out what was going on. I thought that maybe it was my fault, but I don't know if it was my fault. The costume pieces were not, they were different lengths. So like the bottom of the, I'm just going to call it a cape, the bottom of it were the two side panels that came down right here were longer than the back panel, and I don't know if it's the way that I cut it out or if it's the printer or what it was, but like the pattern pieces were definitely longer than the other pattern pieces. So I have no idea what happened there. I don't know if that's how the person planned it. Who knows? But all I know is it is fixable. I'm going to just cut the pieces off the bottom later to keep that for later use. But not what I intended. It was a weird little thing that happened, but if that's the worst of the things that happened, great. But the whole shoot, I think, went out really nice. Our whole family that came in, so fun to work with, and I enjoyed every minute of that. So I guess I should say, if you're in the area and you want to do a really cool, ridiculous shoot of your own, I'm here for it. I like to do weird things. I like to create ridiculous stuff. Whatever weird, cool idea you have, please bring it to me. I want to help you. So, like I said, I do want to help you. Like, I'm not lying. Like, please come. Join me in the studio. I do have some really cool projects coming up that I cannot wait to share with you. One being a big box that has to do with a movie that's coming out soon that will be pink. I don't want to say what it is, and I feel like if I go any further into what this could be, we'll guess what it is. So if you actually know what I'm talking about, I feel like pink should give it away. But let me know in the comments if you can guess. I'm going to leave you with what I consider to be what the family would have hanging up on their walls. They kind of look like headshots, but they're just like the family portraits just of each character, as well as each character modeling their outfits, so you can see what everything looked like. Again, I hope you enjoyed this, and please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.
If you try, you just buy. Get a little bit of trouble, K-N-I-F-E seeing so clear. I feel the end and it's near. The day of reckoning's here. The sound of deafening fear.
You gon' die if you try. You just